Association of the Shinalo Boys.
Fatalo fatu le songa patele molesi tai ole tatu sauninga papel tamati sa fatalo fatu foi to fa malotoa mane ainga Fonomua mane mamalu o mai masani ainga ngalua fatalo fatu foi Ialo Fonomua, Gwen Vivi and Jacob Pale. I may see a granddaughter se pele ya Fonomua. After time when I have no to my Fayesina Moni Mau, Awane Matu Maleuso ya Fonomua. Just in case you know who I am, I'm William McFall, president of the Shinalo Boys Association here in Queensland. And on behalf of the Shinalo Boys Association, I would like to say a few words about our brother Fonomua, Jake Pale. Fonomua is one of the founding members of the Shinalo Boys here in Brisbane. And he was the president for 4 years and then took over the role as our coordinator between our college in Samoa and us here in Brisbane. Jake was a very passionate, caring, and the kindest person I ever known. When it comes to work, as in our association, Jake was always so keen and devoted. He would always give 100% to make sure that whatever was needed back in our college was complete. Jake was my brother, my best friend. We have known each other since college. After college, we met again in American Samoa. And after then in Auckland, New Zealand. And finally, meet again here in Brisbane, Australia in 2009. And that's when we started COSA. As years went by, our bond got stronger. We both found love for playing golf. It became a Sunday day out with all our COSA brothers. Jake, words cannot explain this loss. Losing a brother, a father, grandfather, a friend, it's hard. There is so many stories I can tell you about Jake and our memories we have shared. But I cannot find the right words to express the grief that we all feeling with his sudden passing. When Jake and I talking, we talk about our grandkids. Jake is so proud to be the granddad to his 2 beautiful granddaughters. And he has so much love for you girls. Jake, I am struggling to find the words and courage to speak about our brotherhood and the love and loyalty you have shown not just to me, but to everyone else. I will miss you at our regular Sunday golf. I will miss you at the next Reds or Blues rugby game. I will miss you every time I have a beer or two and think of you sitting beside me laughing and joking. Jake, I'm sure you are already partying in heaven and singing with all the angels. I will miss you always. Emmanuel Malanga, brother. I would like to call upon my Kosa brothers if they could come up and sing a song to farewell our brother. Thai lover.
Se hace a faro muy difícil, pese a saber, al pese vuele que lo mata de fallir más con cala, al pese vuele decir que de ellos más con uso le da más con sua, a eso va como, salva con un salón que en el popular idioma como que pese, pues sí para poco.
Sila mai, wai ai le sua moa, ma le sua pea, ma le sua vea, ma le sua ia, wai ai le sua moa, ma le sua pea, ma le sua vea, ma le sua ia. Lupe, male, pepe, ume atu le sofe, male sua fole, fai ai fe, male sua fe, sua pusi, palu vi o tai, to pai, fa alifu. Ai le sua moa, ma le sua pea, ma le sua vea, ma le sua ia, lupe, ma le pepe, ume atu le sofe, ma le sua fole, fai ai fe, ma le sua fe. Ona pau, lea, wamativa, lo matou, ainga. Fonomua Iakopo, ainga mala.
Lako ai lo ngin me lengi ve a lengi pe ai a le foi el sua le wori ia. Ya fa tai lava le boys. Ia mai mātou te wala watu mai whaloalo I lau fionga Masoe Matthew Fido. A mai a lea, ia ona so mai lea mai tātou pesi.
tala whātu i pa ia mani na malu au fia potu i le nei afiafi i le tātou sa minga whaale aina. O tau pa ia ma malu sa moa o le ale o oi so mātou whatau wha. Wa o pa ia lava ia mai le wawai se ia o i le wha wawai. Mola o tau sila fia o au o masoe misa tau bebe Matthew Fido. O se o se uso foi tama ia Fonomua Iakopo pali. Our family, we both originate from Safotu, so we are related. O le atau whai atu sina moni makupu i ngana Peritania wa fo i le mamakatanga ma se uso. So for the sake of our family and friends here who don't speak Samoan, I will try my best to share my memories with Jake in English. Jake has always been a big family man who I look as my own older brother. No matter how busy life got, he never failed to make time to call me. It is always so easy to get caught up in the craziness of life. So this small gesture of a phone call here and there means more than he will ever know. All our phone calls were full of laughter. We would talk about our golden days and see who the better ladies man was. We would also speak of our own goals and our children's achievements. I remember one of our calls, he was so excited to tell me about his daughter Faye and son Bruce buying their first home. He was so excited to tell me about it, his daughter Faye and her family. He was so happy for Faye, and he would also tell me about all his granddaughters who he cherished and loved so much. I could just to hear the happiness in his voice to share the awesome news that I was over the moon to hear of this milestone for Faye and her family. He would also talk about his son JJ and how well he was doing at his work. There was never a phone call where he didn't talk about his children and grandchildren. Jake loved to talk about them, and I don't think I could name any other man who loved and adored their children and grandchildren as much as he did. The last phone call I had with Jake on his birthday, where I called to wish him a happy birthday. What was meant to be a quick 10-minute conversation turned into an hour-long call, because we all know how much he loves a good chat. If you didn't know already, Jake loves to share posts on Facebook. On his birthday, he had posted a picture of when he was a sprinter in school back in Samoa. And I said to him, I thought that was Carl Lewis in that picture. And he was just cracked up laughing. Little did I know that this would be my last phone call with him, where I would hear him speak so fondly on his kids and grandkids and hear his big and hearty laugh. Jake, you were one of my oldest friends who became a cherished brother of mine. Life will never be the same without you, and I will miss hearing my kids telling me, Dad, it's Uncle Iakopo on the phone for you. Until that next phone call, you'll be dearly missed, my brother. Whamaise re tua ia inga whanonoa, lau tō whā, whaimaru tua iona. Pēr e whionga ki tamaitai sā, tō whā whene. Ai maise whānau, JJ, Whawhiu, Bruce, two little princes here. Ono le paia le tua I le usu. Jay Maria lo whainga malanga usu. Maua sau na whonga tu mau le malo le langi. I le swafa man malo I le su. So I fua ma ia manuia. Thank you.
Ia la atua turoe tātou whaipese. So tuai mo le mole mau fai malo Filippo e Mani. May I call upon Filippo, fai malo Filippo? Kamusila le.
Ya, ale o lava I paia leo sa talai patele mo le taimi mo afia mai tala mai au. Ya o ne o le so tu o Fonomua. To va vai ma to. O Fonomua, ya le to tai mai le la tele o le ma ftanga ma Fonomua. Fonomua masama to no foi. Ini sila se fale la ua se fale wa o taimi o fatasi ma toma Fonomua e se alla fale ma Rose o taimi mana vai ya Fonomua e luatua lo fai ala lana la tu lo fale vai e pia ya ainu fi Rose e fatali mai ma le fana ainu ata Avidia to Rosie. My Fonomua Rosie, relax. Yeah. Ia se longa ala wa leva la fiati fata sau ia Fonomua. Ole suafa la Fonomua o la whanau e Fonoa Fonomua. Mr. Mua, ole ingonga e whaingoa ia Fonomua. Walu a matou no whai Nisila. Ia mu mai loi nei i Australia. Mai lea ma Rosi Alfanau, whai ma JJ. No whai aiva. Ia whai malotoa. Ia walu no. Tutuli loa e malotoa e. Tutuli loa e. Ia mu wai loa. No whai la whale i. Si me whai nei Brisbane. Ia whai ala mau sau iai. Mau kaiaki. Ole ele misau tana te musu atu e tai mai ia wa ele manai. Ia ona what's that? O Fonomua na adu alea ole toanga ia i langa luenga. Ole tamatiti fo nei, tama fo nei. Ole tama fai ia. Ali se ngā luenga e le fia ai. Lona to e su le singa luenga. E alu la fai pepa fo ie tam fai ai ia alu ai lunga non. Ia alu a maua na la tu le ia au apate o wele la fa se sibili fo le le. La tu ava mai. Ang para. Wai la pepa le wa mau pas. O me tei fo. Ia fo lo pangalo le mam la mai le. Okay, that's right. That's how I'm here. Yeah, Mawalo, yeah, Tama, Tamfaya, young Albengai, Ile Yalong, mine no island for Noble, only a fame, Che, Tamfaya, ya, Lele for ya own, ya left what it till ya, or Lele among Albenga, a fame, Che. Yeah, I tell you what I paper all on a thing. Mawailana. Lana Plantora, Elua, ia peia wasili ia Fonomua, lana whanau, le whanau lana whanau. Wasili ai temi umai e tala noa mai au, tala noa mai ai tamikia lana whanau. Ia, o taimi fo e vili atu ai tai ele misi vai aso e vili atu ia, e vili atu la ia au. Ia, o mataulia o Nisila e mua le afu. E mua taimi o Nisila e muli nei. Ia, titilot, o te asu tasi au. Ale kufuta atale. Balu o lea. Ia, talnoa. E tau umatua e afu, e Fonomua. Le vaenga umale ngi. O lea lai, e kewa ia la vaenga ngi. Papeu te leilua la tu ngeia. La toanga sala ia whainga. Wau te ilo uma ia Fonomua. Malesi nei ia Fonomua. O le asosi lea sangeli. Ina ua mai le maua le mai le stroke. No ufa mai lea pai. Awana hito e alu e nufo e ngau e mai. A wha mai. Ile hei sau whia au ia ili anga. O ke alu au ia. Le ala ua maliwa ia Iakopo ia Fono ia o lea lava e tausilanga. Whai mai le ia te au le. O lea e loma le se malanga le asosi i Samoa. O misale se ima tala ia ura lea tapuni nei. Ia whatula ia. Ia ai ke alua maralong koko. Whai mai le ai. O ke alua e kaumwhai ai atu. Ia o lei maangai o le meanga e ki fia ia kaumwhai ai. Mangia whenga oi. Ia lau titira pai umanu. Ia lan whanau. Ola lan whanau laiti. Ia alea e. Wa awal taimi e tuai le lalang. E malang o lo fia la. Pau alme momo ia Fonomua. O lan whanau o lan whanau. E whaasiri siri ia. Ia. Ole ngoa le e tusi langa ilona whata. Whamai. Ta awhi lo whato tua. Tu mau lo fato tua le ngonga la tu sia anga le tele ai te fita no ia ana le wala ta foi le teme tauna ta puni ai tātou whatsama, tātou o mena o le ale o aise umi aise tatalanga. Ia manuia whaafitai lava le afi o mai matara mai au. Wa mamalu ai manuia le aso o i
Misalo le ana o hatul whasolonga ili. Te mai te sai le whionga Sister Francis. Ia maali whionga ia Sister Francis. O ia le sa vaia mapu whangaleni. Ia i mea lo tupuai. Se io mai le teimi nei. Le ua. O le wii leo matua ina le o yengi. Le whionga ia Sister.
Ia fio Yesu e tapena kuru. Ia pe mo mana sauna atu pātele ni whalalo atu ia. Ia talau tato tunu. Alu ni tangata ia Samoae. O tō paia mawhainga le anunu atu ina. I whainga tāpui, te ua malebo sesi. Unone le tāua ma le loto o le tato anganu. Ai ala kai sa'o ala wala tala i winga. Le tangata lea o Iakopo. O Iakopo e tūsai o ausawi ai balu tausanga whatu a whanau mai. Le tausanga e a whiiva se lau wonspul matori. E peila na whanau mai lo Iakopo o le tama. No ui loa i lo te taimi ngā. Wa le toi tiro mai lo tina ia te a. Iakopo, Jacob, was the apple of her eye. So she never took anything from me, and no, she never. I feel that wasn't bothered with me. So I kind of hang out with my father most of the time. So at that time, you know, as people grow up, you have this emotional thing that grows within you, that you kind of, I know who I rate in your way of thinking. Okay, you take him and I'm going with my dad. So dad was my savior in those days. But there was something very special before. Iakopo's birthday was on the 10th. So I spoke with him, and all of a sudden, my phone went down. And well, he sent me an email saying, why don't you have Facebook and you get on the messengers? It's much cheaper. So I said, brother, you don't understand religious life. We have a vow of poverty, we have a vow of obedience, we have a vow of chastity, and a vow of hospitality. Facebook, for us, it's a no. Because, you know, it disturbs us as religious. We have more things very important. We'd rather spend the time with Jesus in the chapel than spending the time on the Facebook, gossip. You know? And I tell you, I just come back from Samoa. Wow. The Samoan people are more up to date with Facebook and all the technology. So even but on the phone, and you know, it's something that's really coming in Samoa, and we want the Samoan people, you know, watch the children. Anyway, so I fire back to him. So, because we had a very good relationship with him. And on the 10th, it was his birthday. And on the 14th, I got a call. You probably all know or heard about the stigmata girl in Samoa, Toa, the Puapuanga, because she's very close to me. Because of all the events that's happening now in Samoa, she called me and said, "How are you?" I said, "Mom, okay. Nothing wrong." She said, "My dad called me from New Zealand. There was someone fell, taken to the hospital, having surgery, and you appeared in the photo." And so her father thought it was me, but I said, "It's not me." And then, Ilea so le pole o mani waia ailing pele ya ai whamakala kore vainga le leo kupu ya Iakopo. Ngā ruwhai ngā rea pa o ave whainanga ka o konga. Ai ke wale ai lisi asu ke whongi aku vainga lea koe mai wa umale o losa ka Iakopo. Au whalo mai, wale whainga kau kala ko te kānisi. So straight away it hit me. So that was the dream and whatever happened, that the message came to me. Le akaleo kangakalana pa o ave whalmai ka oko alaki ka wai. So you see, sometimes things happening, and that when they call me, I put one and one together. Au whakule I a rangalea, ia, me siri wa maku kama, wa maku. Yesu la wali. So I wasn't even worried, up to all I felt with him is peace, joy that he's been relieved from but the only thing that was kind of saddened me, because of his two princes. Every time in my email, here is the photos of my two princes, the two girls, Maddie and KK. So he really, but the things I came to tell you about Iakopo is of Fiapoko, Fiafarialia, if ngau lama le kama, koe orisi mea, olonga rufa lea whaapiku, e lofa foi e kausi a inga. Wal mako wha, ma ua ye, mamake lai ki vai keiminga, e fiku kausanga o Iakopo e maliu mako kama. Because ngā onga Iakopo mai ala kiki e siki ala ngasena. E peila e sawe, ane, Aria o ngai ma o le ai ma ke lo fo ia ma ko but o le meanga o le wi o la ina but was Celia man he was gifted with the intelligent our iso ma ko la ka struggle up with the mea ola ai sa aka ma fa ka alo mai ma ko ala o nei o le si fo o le finga e fesili why do you do that and why did why? I said, Iakopo, you stop. But anyway, pause a minute, think about it, and then we can come and have a discussion. But this why, because the next time I will give you a palawale. And then, in the mele, yamadanga, amiole, o womanka, o le Saul Fali, when a more swing and he went. And allow him again, what do you know about wine? I said, brother, I don't drink, but I know every bit about wine because I lived in France for 8 years. So wine comes from France. Drink the wine. It makes you fun. Drink the beer. It makes you queer. And drink the whiskey. It makes you frisky. Yeah, I thought, come fine. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. You can, try and eat first so that something. It helps. It's healthy. Wine is healthy, but if you take it too much, then your but you know, he was such a, everything that, hey sister, wami ke sauso o inua o Facebook mami, wami, okay, the Facebook. Kami wami ngai kuka. Yeah, you know, what the city my yellow the city this is not, it's like it sounds like a Spanish preposition. That approach, and then we can talk about things. But you know, he loves his children. He loves his cousins and everybody. Come on, brother, I've been away from the family for 30 years overseas. So I'm trying to, so you know, he's very you know, you know, some you can make it. Oh, you see there, like that, there. Yeah, next to it. Aku foi esse da fia o paquer paulinho. Paquer paulinho e não fia kamaiki. Lesi bangana paquer mose you know, ya fa penata kama kwai. Ya de bang attracted e kamaiki. Yeah, you can see they all came from New Zealand, Sydney, because they really want to be with their uncle. So, you know, it's that's Iakopo. Hey, brother, I'm gonna miss you, but you know, but one way you will be with Jesus. If you see us from above, that we're not doing the right thing, you better tap on us and say, hey, be careful. The Lord, you're not doing what the Lord is asking of you. If you're in purgatory, well, at least there's hope to go. But we will pray for you so that you can pray for us. Pakitai lava, momia uma, pakitai poilo wangan le mayatia. Ayu lava tela wa mo ilo malea aso elekiki. But I forgive you. So pakitai lava,
John will mountain here, William Stars. Oi, alako kikilo kuyo. Ya, le siu so leo Fonomua Iakopo. Ya maya ya le, mau William ya na, tato wo fone tato wo fepes.
Ia e va pe voi.
Ai tai. Ka ko sa nginga e pa ke le fa. Fa pe ai wo lo ka wing ka lunga ko sista ia le. Ia ba ko mun mau. Ia mo si ia no pa ko mai foi Brisbane ia. I tangata ngai o au e. E uso ma kwan fa da mai a ko. Mai lau kuilo o mai lo ki nga sa vali ia e ka sengi ko rua rea mai smako u pele rea papa langi ia le falpenga sa mo wantas ia e ko ke vavaia ku le e pokalani ia ko si da fia ia o au yo o William, lo o o Filipe. Na ko ke vai ko kalame. O le aso se fulu o mega ana o Iakopo. Ia ma ke kau sanga le ia ma le ngaka ma wa umaki o ngaia ia me ia maolanga mako me Samoa ma e maua kwa maua i kele aso ko whawhinge ngei a Luisa ma ia whai ma mea ma fusu ngā kai pē mo mai mea ai nisi o lau wanga ia ka kai anu i lunga isi kai ia whai a ma fusu pa whai ma saka misi luki wa kene ngā kele i o ka mu whai kama i Singamonga ia ngā kai whai a haina whai uso lewa whai aku e nisi o la inga ia leo mako leo langa o Iakopo ka kai whai a inga whai ia renga lau sau e ia uso vidi mai ngai o kei mangai ka uso i Samoa ngusila ma kufia la langi o sau e o ke o mai whai ma sui o i la kou e ia manguhia lau malanga ken te aku sista ia kui mai pea kau siasi se mea tae o kako malo o ngenga ngakai manga o e so se mea ia 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 mga o makio whaakasi sa boa New Zealand ma ia e whamari aku so awa te wapi akua u lau malanga lau wana ia lau malanga
ia la tātou o atu tātou pese whāroa mlawa, tui titi ama e al vaenga lea, o le walau tuai I a Lisa. This is one of Iakopo's nieces. after, and then Richard the final.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Lisa. I'm Tom and Anna Witime's oldest daughter. My mum is one of Iakopo's sisters. You know, the one that did the beginning, middle and end. Shannon and Jared are my siblings. I'm the eldest grandchild of the Bale family, and the other night we realised that JJ is the youngest grandchild. Our cousins Neil, Peter and Melisha Pilcher couldn't be here, but I know they really wanted to be, and send their love to Uncle, JJ, Faye, Bruce and the girls. Uncle Iakopo, what can I say? He was a man that was an uncle to so many of us. The Frettons, Pilchers, Emanis, Lafayelles, Stricklands, Stowers, the Poulets, Williams, Beethams. He was well known amongst our Glen Eden, Auluku, Aukalavau back in the day in New Zealand. He's probably having a beer with some of the old uncles who have passed, like Uncle Seve, Uncle Jean, Uncle Kafili, the old boys from Glen Eden. You know, my mum said that Uncle Iakopo moved in with us in 1985 when we lived in Glen Eden. That was Kamara Road, so the Frettons and myself, Shannon and Jared were known as the Kamara Road crew. You know, he was a young man, single and ready to mingle with his wingman, William Stowers. You know, they were both single and living their best lives until they met these two beautiful ladies there in Auckland. You know, he lived in our home for a few years until he married, and then he had his children. You know, he was known as our young, good-looking uncle who was always ready to party with our parents, and then later us, the nieces and nephews. All our cousins in New Zealand and Samoa know this of him. Fast forward to December 2021, my sister Shannon and my parents moved from Sydney to Brisbane. He was so happy that they had made the move. I moved in April from New Zealand and we all reconnected again. He kept telling me he was so happy that we were here in Queensland, that he had more of us, the family here. So in this last year, we've had a lot of catch-ups with Uncle. We became the Queensland crew with Elsie, Richie, Shannon, Chris, Faye and Bruce, myself and my husband David. Uncle loved his great nieces and nephew, Portia, Evan, Lana and SJ. He spoilt them. You knew he loved the kids. He was always looking out for them, as all our kids in Sydney. We were all in Sydney in February this year for our Uncle Pakele Paulino's funeral. He passed suddenly too, and Uncle Iakopo was with all of us kids and the family down there. Maybe it was meant to be that we all connected, because who knew that this was going to happen? You know, I bet him and Pakele are up there right now having a bottle of red wine together right now. You know, we all know Uncle Iakopo was single, and I would always say to him, "Come on, Uncle, let's go out. I'll find you a nice palangi lady for you." And he always laughed, you know that laugh he has? And he would always say, "I'm okay, Lise." I even said to him, "What about your old Chanel boys? Aren't there any single ladies in that group?" And you know, he would laugh and he'd say, "They're all taken." You know, he'd say, "I'm happy. I have my kids and I have my granddaughters. That's all I need." He was so proud of his kids, of Faye and Bruce, buying a house. and JJ doing so well in his job. All of us know that his kids were everything to him, like everyone else has said. His granddaughters were his world. Uncle Iakopo was so happy living with Faye and Bruce with their kids. We've had so many catch-up drinks over there. He loved to post up pictures of all our get-togethers, and Faye said he was the Facebook king. He would always say to me, "Send me the pics, Les. I'll post them up." So yeah, he was our Facebook king. So I guess my mum is the call centre queen. It'll be so different now, having our family get-togethers. You aren't there. You'll be so missed. You've been such a big part of our lives from when we were little kids to when we became adults with our own kids. Uncle, I promise we will look after Faye, Bruce and JJ and the girls. We know that's all you would want, is for us to look after your kids. E mana welo malanga, Uncle. We love you until we meet again.
Hi, my name's Fabian. I'm Kopo's nephew. And, Fabian Fritton. Thank you, Auntie Anna. Kopo was my uncle. He was growing up. He disliked us calling him uncle because he thought he was as young as us and could party like the rest of us. He was always there for good times. You know, sorely missed. I thought with the phone calls I was the only one getting them, but seriously, everyone in here was saying they'll get phone calls. But when he did call, like, my kids, he knew what school was always important, and that was the first thing he always asked me: "How's the kids doing in school?" Which I was always proud of. Bruce and JJ stole the thunder of, Iakopo was always, he came with me to the Maris Sevens years ago, drinking up everywhere, thinking he's the man, but he never played rugby in his life. But when we were going out in Samoa, like, everyone knew who he was. So, that was like a big thing, and that was an eye-opener because I hadn't been to Samoa for years, and I went there with the Maris Sevens, and it was a good moment for me and him. But he was always like the first to come to all the family gatherings, on the barbecue with Viriamu, and always last to leave. I was always amazed how he could always get drunk on a six-pack, because that's all he'd ever bring. But and lastly, the last time we had a catch-up was at Uncle Paulingo's funeral. I told him, he asked me to come pick him up from the airport, and I said, yeah, that's all right. And then I told him, get changed, because we'll go straight to the family service. And then I rushed home, got changed, then went off to the airport, but then he rang me and he said, don't come an hour later, because he missed his flight. I said, what happened? Because you know how he had a stroke and he was in the wheelchair. The flight attendants left him downstairs and forgot about him. And then he goes, I'm not going family service. I don't know if I should say that, but yeah. He said he didn't want to go, and then we pulled up, and then I text my sisters, and that were saying, come, there's room up front. I said, no, Iakopo doesn't want to come in. He's dressed like he's going to the beach. And then he goes, no, let's go to Dan Murphy's. Well, you can't go there. So we popped around, he went to Dan Murphy's, bought his wine, went to my sister's house, and I think by the time they come back, he bought 3 bottles, 2 already gone, and the family service, hadn't even finished. But that's the way he lived. He lived his life to the fullest, which, I think, we should all do that. But yeah, he'll be greatly missed, and I should call him Uncle Iakopo now, I guess, because he's gone, passed away. All right, thank you.
Do we have Richard? According to the list, may I remind you that it's after 8 now. So, if there's no Richard here, so may I call upon Father to continue? We finished with we finished.
Rai ngā le tui tātou tūtu lai whatasi, tātou whatalofa atu, ma whawhino ai atu, I le upu o le nei pō. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God still and trust in me. There are many rooms in my Father's house. If they were not, I should have told you. I am going now to prepare a place for you. And after I have gone and prepared you a place, I shall return to take you with me, so that where I am, you may be too. You know the way to the place where I'm going." Thomas said, "Lord, we do not know where you're going, so how can we know the way?" Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me." This is the gospel of the Lord. Would you please be seated? I'd like to share a story to help us celebrate this night. For yes, it is a night that we celebrate and remember the song as we heard with the beautiful eulogies that have been offered. But I'd like to bring all those eulogies, to this story, hopefully can be of help also to us tonight. It's a story about a man who, for so long in his life, had two passions. That was of his family and that of his church. He said he would never not miss not going to church on a Sunday. But one day he came to church, and what the priest said irritated him. It made him really angry. There are times in our lives that what people say to us makes our blood boil, and more so us Samoans. He was so angry that he decided that when he walks out of the church, bye-bye church, no more church. After a couple of weeks staying at home, he says, "Since I don't go to church, I might as well give up this faith. I don't believe in God anymore." He gave it up, which was very sad. It is said long before this pandemic that has stopped us from going to Samoa or overseas to visit family or on a holiday, he had the opportunity to go to America. And there in America, he had a great holiday. And in his holiday was given a ticket to have a look at this very famous national park. He arrived in the morning and he was blown away by the beauty of it all. And he enjoyed it so much that he failed to see a sign that says, "Please do not go past the sign." I'm sure if he went to Chanel College, he would have read the sign. But he went past the sign and he went deeper and deeper into this national park. He came to a really big tree, these massive trees. In Samoa, it's like a tamalingi tree. And as he got closer to the tree, behind the tree jumps out this humongous bear, that stands in front of him, and the bear opened its paws and jaws, and the bear was about to eat him. When the first thoughts that came to his mind and out for his lips is, "God help me." It is said God appeared, God froze the bear, and God said, "What do you want?" And he says, "The bear. I do not want to be eaten by a bear. I want to go back to Australia and to Queensland where I live." And God said, "Well, why you call on me? You don't go to church, you don't believe in me, why do you call on me?" And he says, "Well, yes, that's true. But how about if we meet halfway?" And that's why we get that word in Samoa, "Mulole lima kapale off." And he says, "Why, God, can we meet halfway? How about turning this bear into a Christian, make this bear Catholic?" And God said, "It's a deal." So God disappeared. Now remember this bear frozen like that. It came back to life. It moved back a bit and then it put its paws like this. The bear bowed its head like this. The bear made the sign of the cross like this. And the bear said, "For the food I'm about to eat, I am grateful." My friends, it is that sense of being grateful that gathers us. As we heard Iakopo's life, he had a colorful life. But yet amidst all of that, and as I was listening to the beautiful eulogies, what was underlying is of his love for his family, his love of his faith, and his love of people that he encountered in life. And so it is the sense of being grateful that brings us here today. Grateful for life. For he is a gift that God has given to your family, and a gift, how hard it is on this day, we must return to God. Whamai o aso whapene e no ngā le mawhau e su inga tāse upu. Awa e whapewhea le upu o na whaamawhau na whana le anganga mawhatia. E whapewhea le upu o na sole e se ia loi mata e malingi i aso whapene. Awa e ui i la tātou haatasi le neipo. Nā le tasi lava lea e maua mai e le whaama whanwhananga o lea tua lea. Awa lana pule whaasoa, lewa tātou ai le neipo, ma tātou patipatia lana me alofa o le soifua po le ola. O le mafuanga foi le nā i le neipo wa tātou mai e whale ainga, tātou te lalanga whaatasi le anganga whaawhitai, ma le anganga whaamalo lana me alofa. I te tonu isi o nā ainga, si ana whanau o le nofo alo, mai tātou umai le neipo. Ioe ngō ngāle mawhauwhau, su ngā tāsi upu. Awai whapewhea le upu o na solo e sea lo I mata o le whaanoa. E whapewhea le upu o na toi susoo. Se mea sina na whoai, te tono la tātou aina. O te tūlai atu I lumo la tātou aina I le nei aso. Awa e tausonga lo tangata ia whapena ma le tamanei le wha le aina ai wha le nu. Awa o lesi fo I sa fotu le tuai.
E masani ona tātou tō e ma tātou whi ātai pe ātau le nuu leo sa fotu wha mai e. Le ama le ātei fo ina tāu e le nepo. Ai anga le ai le nuu ne ko ke le iloa whenga ngui sa mua. Whawhetai la ai le nuu o sa fotu. Lewa tātou ai e ma tātou ngangangu ai whaapea. Ai sea. Ai leango inga whenga ngui ai sa mua. E aula ia te au se i tulou le a inga whaavau. A wā waso whaapenei pe o nao whaalongo i le taitai o le maftanga sangele sa taua ia pe sa tau fo ini mau. E tau i le tamane o Mr. Mua. O nao manatua i la ia o le tala. E fia whaamatala mo i tātou le nipo. O le nuu nei o sa fotu matau tia le langu fo i le soifuanga a tonu pe o na tātou whaalongolongo. I le langu o le soifuanga o le tamane. I aso la o mātou whiola i fu matuputupu i fo i sa fotu. Sa fono ai le mātou nuu. Se i ave se vaa le tunga vaa lea e whai i Samoa. I ana fono ai le nuu a wai makau kia le ngai ngu o sa foku e o e whai mea le le. Maka kua le kai au a le fiafi o fongo le ngu le suenga o se ingoa e whai ngoa le vaa lea. Ave le kunga vaa. La pa ui whale la kulo le ko inga makua ma whape aku wa lewanga ngofo ngofo. O le ingoa le vaa kango i le pua lean ka ko wha nono ia. Ala ulo pake le sau wha ia le ingoa le vaa. Ai kua kule silo makua whapea o i soli. Ai ko whapa le velea. A ave nge la le vaa kango le mua ai muli o whele me la kango ia. Le ai ngai o le atu o le pole nei tātou te tango i le mua. Tātou te tango le whaamrianga e whoai e le atu e ala i le au auna nei. E le ise se whe kango i kua. Awa aisea o ngau aso fia fia. Io e malingi lo i mata e whaanuna noa le loto e tuia. Awa ua motu sia maaftanga, awa iei le alanga upu po le whaupunga wha Samoa, ese le mana i o se ainga pe anu nofo whaatasi. Ai mawhaile nei pōpeo na tātou whaalongolongo, ua suia le nā whaupunga, ese le whainga tā, o le soifuanga pe a motu sia se maaftanga whale ainga. Leo se mea whaino fie. Ai tātou te poto le nei pō le anganga whawhitai le mea alofa le atua na whoai. Tātou te o mai, tātou te lalanga whaatasi la tātou whaamaisenga i le ainga whapauha. Ma tātou toe tō mana tunatu le tāu o le soifua ma le ola e whoai e le atua. Tonight we come as family and as friends to unite, to celebrate, to laugh, to cry, but above all, to give thanks to God for a gift. You know, how lucky is this man? As I mentioned to you, he had a very colorful life. You know, as Sister said, he was always on Facebook, you know, because he wanted to reach out. Sister, you're very good, you're not on Facebook. Anna's on Facebook. But how beautiful it is, such a beautiful life, isn't it? Because really at the end of life, you know, no matter what, I firmly believe God will ask us one question when we come before Him. He won't ask us how many times we go to church, how many times we fall on our knees in prayer, how many times we give money to charity. God will ask us one question, important as those other questions are. He will ask us, how much did you love? You know, we ask children, I ask my nephews and nieces every time, how much do you love me? And children, most times they say, I love you today this much, sometimes this much. But most of the times they say, I love you this much, up to the sky, round and around and back down again. I firmly believe, listening to the eulogies tonight and knowing your family, that Iakopo will have no problems putting his hands wide open like this before God and say, I've loved this much. I've loved my family. I've loved my children. I've loved my grandchildren. I've loved my friends and my mates and those that I've encountered in life. And in spite of the hardships, in spite of the challenges of life, I have loved this much. And for that we celebrate tonight. For that we honor him and give thanks to God for who he is and who he will always be. But it is a tribute. Just as not honoring him tonight, we honor his family. And we offer to you our sincere condolences and prayers. First and foremost, to you, his children. To you, Faye, and to you, Jacob. I know what it feels like to lose a parent. It is not an easy feat. It is one of the hardest things we endure in life. But I pray that the blood that flows through your dad flows through yours, and I pray that you will continue to remember and to honor him. And we offer you our sincere condolences and our prayers. You only need to look around. Look, your dad was loved. Your dad was admired. And your dad was valued. And I'm sure, I'm so humbled to see so many of you here tonight. Why? Because we could be sitting at home watching something. And here we are. We've been here nearly over 3 hours in this church. I wish I could get people to stay in church all the time, this long. But we're here. Why? Because we're here for this guy. There's so many of you to be here. I come from Sydney, and I'm so happy to be here tonight, even though my brother priest here didn't pick me up from the airport. He got me to find a train. I've never ridden a train, in Brisbane. So I went all over the place, But it was fun. It was fun to explore Brisbane, And so thank you for being here tonight. I'm not sure about him or me, where anyone will turn up to our funerals. But how beautiful it is. It's a great tribute to your dad, to have so many of you today. So thank you on behalf of the family. Thank you for honoring Iakopo by your presence here tonight. But I pray amidst all of this that we take a moment to offer a prayer. Because at the end of it, our life connects to God. Wherever our faith is, wherever our church is, I pray that tonight we may take a moment and reflect how precious life is. And it is a gift from God, a gift that we must value and honor for our kids, and that we not seize a moment or a day to give thanks to God, to say to each other, you appreciate and love them, to pick up the phone like he does, and to say hello. So what a beautiful tribute Iakopo teaches us tonight, to value life. Let us celebrate that and honor that. Lai ngau le tuai le nei, ka fia moli ele anganga wha, tai pe ono ta ue le angatanga, o le nei tātou te muli ai lapa o malo, le anganga wha, tai ma le anganga wha malo, le pule wha soa, ma le mea alofa le atua na fua. A vele nei po e whangu ai le tō wha, ma le wha tua tātou maua le wha tua le tō ina le o yopu. Le wha le anga, e tangata na mea tō tino, a whaina lona soifua malo loina, pa o le whale nofo ai maari liulanga whanau, ti ngā e tina o whapea ti a yopu, pa songa whai ai whea. Nā songa whai ai whea lo whātua i le atua. Tali yopu o le atua na ia whua, o le atua whoi na ia toi e sea. Ia le swafo le atua. Le ala te talo sa moa i le nei a whiawhi, to mai alo wao tu atu o lima momoli le hanga whawhitai i le atua, o tātou tapa au le nei po, e ave le hanga whawhitai ma le hanga whamalo. And so, let us unite ourselves in prayer. As I invite you to join me in praying the Lord's Prayer, Tātou talo le li, ia mo le whainga malanga le tamanei, ia te tala le langi ia te ia, so le seo na whaivainga masiseo le nei lalu langi, ia tali le leo o ia o wana whanau o ia, na taele o ia, ile alofa maleanga le leo le atua. Lo mātou tamai o le langi, ia pa ia lo suafa, ia o mai lo malo, ia whai alo whinga ngalo le lalu langi e peona e whai le langi. Ia e whai mai a te mātou le aso nei, a mātou me ai e te tau ma le aso. Ia e whamangalo mai a te mātou, ia mātou o msala, e peona mātou fo, ia ona mātou whamangalo mi ngātou. Ia e wāna le mai a te mātou. Aua foi e te taitaina I mātou le whao sosonga, a ia la bea I mātou mai le leanga, a wae o le mālo ma le mana, a toa ma le viinga e whawa vau lava, a mene, tātou tu inatu foi, tau sanga le tina pa ia, lea tātou te ai si a tātou ainga o le mafutanga a sangele, tātou whaatonga le tina pa ia I lana whautua te talo se o lofa Maria, ua tumbo le karesia, ua ia te oi o le li, ua manui o whine uma, ua manui o Yesu le fua lo wālu. Maria pa ia e le tinga o le atua, ia e tālesia I mātou tanata angasala, I ona po nei manei tuaso le mātou boti. Amen. Ia e le I wha umalia la tātou tau sanga po la tātou po I le nei aso ia, le talawhai uma le wha mianga ia la fuatu I le tātou whainaunga fu le nei po, ia, e po I whaunga po le angisi po le kalame, ia, po ua umala tātou po, ia te tātou whā, tātou wheloa I tāo peo nau tō sila fia le taulanga peo le misale asu tai au, ia, tātou whaamawai atu I le tamanei, I le po muli, ia, mane ainga, ia, na tātou Koe whenua I le ia tai au, ia hae la fuatu le lea vano po le asu tonu, ia. E wheskaku me au ka fia ai. Ia te aolo I anga I tonu, ia.
E atu whaftetele lau whionga pātele mo te teino tātou sauninga. Ma lo lava le unsai. E mo I atu lava le whaftetele ia mana mamalo whatisi mai le nei aso o le nei fiafi. Ai maisi foi ia tamatuai o sanele le asosi ia le ekalesia katoliko mai master ia whapele Divine Mercy mai master ia mau tātou tala au ia mana mamalo Samoa le mwhai o no wo I tō tū tau langi nei fiafi. Ai whapupu ia se mātou whantalanga e whape atu ai. O saunia e ainga na lua, lau tau sina whamalo stino I whafo, ia ai o le ato I moli atu le sao o Fonomua Iakopo I le whale, ia wal whamu I moile aso a tai au, ai tau sangatu, a whai I aise ua whato ai mai nisi wahenga ia tau, ia o whafo atu malu taimi oro, ia ai aloli, e le aisi tātou lau whapitoa mo whaiwheau, ia e tutusau mo tātou o whanau o le atua mo tūlanga lo iai, ia e whapena fau sami ninga le ainga, ia ono e whamai lawa I peo tātou iai nei vai tau, ia le taimi o le aso a tai au, ia o lona tō sauninga o le tūla e spulu, whai ai le misa e o sia foi e le fionga ia pātele mo le aso a tai au, le ia fiafi, ia tuia lau whionga pātele mo whamuia ia o tātou o ele le pese whai ia ai le atu lai le awhia mo sina whamalo stim ai aua te pole I le whapenata mo le nu I le whapenata ngata e tango le mua sa Amen.